All right. We're excited to be here. We had a couple of little technical glitches there to start with, but excited to have you here. Remember, this is only our second live hangout that we've been able to put together so far, but we know you people, everybody got excited about the first one, so let's see what we can do today. My name's Coach Manny, and as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. We start at 5 minutes after the hour because someone in my recent past said, you know what? When you start at 5 after, it gives people that little extra edge. Not that they're going to make it on time anyway, but at least maybe they'll get there a little earlier. So today, we're going to pick up with sales follow-up. Now, those of you who joined us on our first hangout on Wednesday got to see a little bit about the funnel, and I hope you were excited about that. And I got some great comments and feedback, and you know, we're always looking for feedback from any of you out there who could join us. But we're live today, and here we go with the cards, right? My sales follow-up sucks. Now, I know that might offend you a little bit, but I want to tell you a good mentor of mine, a young man who's really done tremendous things on the internet, Steve Scott, has some great books. I've read maybe a dozen of his books, all on these little tips, and he says it's okay. And so my sales follow-up sucks kind of comes from some of the work I've done with him. We're talking about the most of you out there. Think about it. Your sales follow-up. How's it going? How are you doing? Are you pursuing what you're supposed to? Probably not. And that's one of the big issues that we end up with. This morning, I went to a networking event. You can tell I'm dressed for a summer networking event in Jersey. Let me show you the great things on the shirt, right? And if you haven't, those of you who watch me know I'm a big Hawaiian shirt fan. So here's the cards. These are 7 people that I met this morning at a networking event that I never knew. 7. These are 2 people that I knew in the past but reconnected with, and 1 person who is someone I knew and we is a fan, has used a lot of our stuff in the past. So 10 people, and that's not including the people at the event that I already knew that I had a chance to talk to a little bit. But that is the power of step 1. Step 1. And I have a thing here. I wasn't really going to use this at this point, but maybe it'll work better this way if we go through here. And this is step 1 right here. Meet. You meet someone new. And what happens when you meet someone new? You get one of these, and I have a bunch here, right? And if it's your card here, that's great. You know, you get a little bit of free advertising. I met all these people this morning. Now, what am I doing with the fact that I met them? And what am I doing with all that material? Because I met them. Now, I may have met them online, because you can meet people on LinkedIn and Facebook and the same thing. But if you don't do anything with it, you're done. So step 1 is you meet them. But we'll get to step 2 a little bit further in the seminar. I want to divert for a moment. Just like those who, and please write this down again, my sales follow-up sucks. Check it on Amazon. Great book we have out there for $2.99, I think, $2.99, $3. Spend the $3, get the book. It really reinforces all the stuff we're talking about today in this seminar. But I wrote the whole book. I had it put together, and then I added the 2 last chapters at the beginning, because in order for you to make sales follow-up work, you've got to do 2 things before you do any of the mechanics, even before you go out and meet someone. And the first of those is what I'm going to call consistency. Consistency is the driver of whether your follow-up is any good or whether it works. I'm going to give you, I think, 5 tips on consistency as we continue to move through here. But just remember this. If you're not consistent, it isn't going to work. In fact, you know, I tell you that the great story is I got my #1 video out on YouTube is a video on consistency. And this thing has been watched 10 times more than my second most popular video. And this video is on consistency. I have no idea, but it must be a big problem. And that's why we put that into the process. So the first thing, if you want to have a great follow-up process, you need to think about your consistency in your follow-up process. And #1, when we talk consistency, we got to talk about doing what needs to be done. And as salespeople, and even as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we're out there and we love to do what we want, don't we? We forget that it's not really about what you feel like. It's got to be consistent, whether you feel like it or you don't. And you need, #2 is you need to be accountable. Why do people work with me? Why do I recommend that you get a coach and get a good coach? Because of accountability. If you want to be consistent in your follow-up, what are you going to do with the people that you meet? Do you have a system? Well, let's stick with consistency and then we'll get to the system in a minute. Consistency means, third thing it means is you're never going to give up. Right? Consistency means I am going after this account. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about that in perseverance, but I want to share a story. When I used to, years ago, sell computers development. So I would go to big companies and we had a great staff and we would go in and we would try to sell you the fact that you need to augment your staff with some of our people because we have people who are experts in some stuff maybe you don't have, maybe you don't need permanent, or maybe you just have a big project coming up and you need some people. So that's what we sold. And I sold to Fortune 1000 in the Philadelphia area. So what I did was every month, I had a stack of these in those days. That's why I think maybe I'm still using them. And I had about 100 to 150 prospects that had been identified as people who use what we sold and would buy it, and we're using it probably from somebody else. And every month I get the phone. Now, we didn't have these great little cell phones in those days. And I'd make a call and I'd say, "Hi, this is Manny. Just checking back with you, see if you have any needs this month, or if you'd like to get together and talk a little bit about how we could help you." And they'd say no, and I'd say, "Okay, thank you." Now, it took 6 to 8 months to finally get through to somebody to get to that part, but every month I call them. And then what happens is that day comes, and it could be 18 months when you're selling that kind of stuff to big companies. And I'd say, "Hi, this is Manny," you know, and sometimes you get discouraged, right? Because you're so used to people saying no, but you keep it up. And that's a consistency, right? Consistency, month after month after month. I don't care if 14 months you told me I'm not interested. I'm going to call you. Unless you tell me just stop calling me, then I'm not going to bother you. Of course not. But I call, and you get that call, and they say, "Manny, you are a real pain. Guess what? Get over here. I got some stuff for you. Can you get over here tomorrow at 2 o'clock? I'm there." But finally, it does happen. And time after time after time, in that sales cycle, we ended up closing, I don't know how many of those accounts. And some of our competitors who did even better than we did, and this was when that industry was so popping, even some of our competitors, they closed them all because over the period of 5, 6, 7 years, they did what I just told you about. every month. Consistency. So if you're getting a little discouraged, don't. Just remember, it starts here and it continues with consistency. All right. The one thing I want to tell you on consistency, the fourth point, is don't listen to people who haven't done it. How many of us get bogged down listening to those people who are, everybody loves to give us advice, right? And they're not doing it, and they're not really, they're not consistent. So if you're listening to somebody who's not consistent, forget it. Get them out of your life. That's not going to help you be consistent. Find the people who are consistent. I was talking to a young lady this morning who's a good friend of mine, and she is the cold call expert of the world. And she consistently got on that phone for, 18 months, 24 months, and still does. And she's built her business tremendously. And finally, of course, finish what you start. Consistency says, I'm not quitting. I'm not stopping. So this is the key ingredient. And of course, you need an action plan, and we're not going to discount that at all. But let's go back. So you met somebody. What happens next? All these cards that I got here are all people that I met this morning. And what's the next thing we need to do? Well, we need I need to do a follow-up email, right? I thought I spelled mail wrong there for a minute. I need a follow-up email. And don't sell people things in a follow-up email. Don't say, oh, it was great meeting you this morning. I know you need this. This is what we can do for you. No, it's very simple. In a follow-up email, all you're going to say is, it was great to meet you this morning. I hope we can talk some more in the future. End. Stop. Quit. Now, I also offer a free book because I have that. Now, if you have something, not sales material, but if you have something that'll give the customer a benefit, or something, like my friend George has free dry cleaning, okay? Coupon. Yeah, that's something that you could offer people, because that is something that's not for me. It is for you. And what it does is it gives that person something for free. They get a free book. They get a free coupon. It doesn't cost them anything, and it doesn't require any kind of commitment. So you can do that. But that's all. That's all I want you to do in that follow-up email is say, great to meet you. All right. Now, after you do that, then you need a follow-up conversation. One of the things I'm going to share when I talk more about LinkedIn in the future is, how do you get people from you met them online, you sent them an email to connect, they connected with you, what's next? Well, you need a follow-up conversation. And in this conversation, it's going to be a lighthearted talk, learn a little bit about each other. It could be on the phone, it could be in person. I recommend on the phone, and just get to learn about each other, but we haven't sold anything. All right, let me just grab a drink here. And the time always goes so fast, so we're going to get through what we can today. And of course, we're here every Friday now at noon, or 12:05 Eastern time, 9:05 Western time, and whatever's in between. Just get on the Google. We're here. We're going to do these hangouts. You can watch them on YouTube, because whatever we do here today is going to be on YouTube later. So please do that. But let me go back to our cycle. The next thing I want to talk about is persistence. You got a consistency, but now in order for your follow-up to work, you have to be persistent. Remember, go out on Amazon, look up My Sales Follow-Up Sucks, spend the $3, but you're just getting all this training free, right? So $3. And remember, I don't really care whether you buy the book or not. I just think it's a great tool for you. Persistence. Don't settle for less than what you think you really need. Take the hard fork. I always tell people that when you're out there and you want to sell, it's not the easy road that happens. Just like if you're a salesperson, it's easy to just keep sending out emails, right? The hard road is to pick up the phone and make the call. Or the hard road may be to stop in somewhere. And you don't want to do that. So we take the easy road. Forget it. Persistence means you're always going to take that hard road, the tough road in the fork. And it tells us that, right? And through whatever we read, if you're a reader of the word, you know that you got to take the hard road. You got to win the mental journey. And this is a mental journey. Salespeople, the great salespeople, they all have it here. They all have that mental game. There's a lot of people can do the sales process, but without the mental game, you're never going to win. So the mental process, remember that time isn't results. Just because you put the time in doesn't mean it's going to happen. You still have to be persistent. You never quit. And you know what the key is to all those things? And some of the stuff we're going to continue here with is to be persistent. You got to stop thinking so much. So many of you out there who are salespeople spend way too much time thinking about what you should do as opposed to just doing it. Just get the phone, put it in your hand, take that list, and start making some calls. And that's it. And I know the stars out there that I know will line up with me there and say, that's it. Get in your car, make some stops. Go to the networking event. Do something. If you think about all the things you could do with sales, you're still going to be thinking, well, I'm making money. And so that's really where you want to go. Okay, so let's continue on the cycle. We talked about, you got to meet somebody, right? Then we talked about you got to do the follow-up email, no sales. Then we talked about you got to have a follow-up conversation. Now, once you have this follow-up conversation, then you'll be able to make some determination. Am I going to do one of two things? Am I going to pursue or am I going to nurture? And these are two distinctly different paths for you to go down when dealing with people. Am I going to pursue or am I going to nurture? And what's the difference? Well, pursue means this is a person, they've got a need, they want it, you've connected, you know they want to buy what you have, and they're always in, or at this point in the buying cycle. So you start scheduling some stuff, whether they're meetings, whether they're emails. You just really pursue them in order to try to get this deal done because they're buyers right now. The nurture piece is different because you know this person could use what you want, what you have. You know they can use it down the road, but they're just not ready or they're just not convinced that they even want to look at you right now. Like I meet people all the time and how could you not love me, right? All right. But I meet people and they're not impressed right away. I mean, yeah, okay, so you got some great stuff, but I don't need a coach. And so I move them to the nurture. And nurture for me, different for everybody. Nurture for me is now you're on my list and every week or every month, depending on which list you go on, you get a piece that educates you in something. Once in a while, you get an invitation to something like our big boot camp coming up, October 22nd, 23rd. Get there. So that's what happens. You either pursue or you nurture because they're two different paths. And sometimes we don't put the person on the right path and it costs us. We make that mistake. But usually you're pretty good because from there, the people that you're pursuing, of course, we're going to close, just like we said the other day, get them to buy something. And then we, just like we talked about the other day in our seminar, customer for life and referral source. That's how it works. Now, I'll probably go through that one more time before I'm done here. But let's go back to the thing. this is the question, or this is the statement. If you are persistent, you will prevail. Just think about that a minute. If you are persistent, you will prevail. That's just the way it works. And you will beat 95% of your competition out of the game because 95% of the people quit. You know, what's that old story about? I'm climbing this 10,000-foot mountain and I quit 10 or 25 feet before I reach the top because I can't see it. Don't do that. Be persistent. It works. Now, I just want to share one more thing because persistence. So what happens with these cards? What do I do? What am I going to do with these cards now? Well, one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to sit here at my keyboard and enter every one of these cards because that's so yesterday, as my kids say. That's so yesterday, Dad. I'm going to take this device, and what I'm going to do, because I have a piece of software in here, I'm going to take a picture of every one of these cards that I got today. And then on the phone, I'm going to label them as business cards at a networking event. And then what's going to happen, because I've built a follow-up process that's automatic, and I'm going to get back to automatic in a minute. These people will all receive those things we talked about. These people will get the follow-up email, and I don't have to do anything because if I remember to take a picture of your card, and usually I try to do that when I'm in my car before I leave the event, the rest is automatic. And if I got to do something, like if I'm supposed to make a call, follow-up conversation, I will get an email out of my system saying, Manny, you're supposed to call Sam today, and I will call them. So it starts with the phone. And again, all this is in the book. We actually do much more detail in there, but it starts with the phone. And what I want you to do is start getting some software. I'm going to, again, CRM. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to talk about a lot of these on the Hangouts in the upcoming future. But even more important, I want to tell you right now, and I think I have the link in here, is I want you, yeah, here it is. Just type in MannyNowak.com, MannyNowak.com, and go out, look at Marketing Automation Bootcamp, get on there, get signed up. We're talking less than $100, unless you're watching this after the price goes up, and we are going to raise the price shortly. But for less than $100, you're going to get 2 days of this stuff. This is, you know, I've spent not even 30 minutes here talking about this, and I've given you a little bit of tip. Just imagine what will happen if you get 20 hours of this. And I'm only one of the presenters. I mean, it is my seminar, but I've got some top-notch people there. So before I close, please get out there, MannyNowak.com. I think I have it here. Get to that boot camp. Now, I guess we're doing pretty good on this Hangout. Next time we do the Hangout, I'm going to actually be able to come over here, and I am going to be able to share the screen, hopefully, with you. One of the other things we're going to do is we're going to try to do some interviews on these Hangouts over the next few weeks prior to the boot camp with people who are going to be there. So let me quickly, okay, meet somebody, follow-up email, no sales stuff. You got it? Just hello, maybe a coupon, if it's totally a free coupon, free book, that kind of stuff. Don't send me something that like, oh, well, look at the sales material. Follow-up conversation. Now, even if you connect through LinkedIn, Facebook, or some tool, this is important. You've got to talk to the person. Then make a determination. Am I going to pursue this person, or are they going to go into my nurture file? If you pursue them, of course, we're going to try to close, and then customers for life and referrals. Wow, we got through another hangout. Let me just remember, get this book. We probably going to do another hangout. We got more stuff in that book we'll share in the near future. We're going to do another hangout next Friday. I don't have the subject yet, but if you're on our list, please join us. Again, MannyNowak.com. Get in there and get out to our boot camp. I look forward to coming to seeing you. And when you sign up, after you get your confirmation, send me an email saying, Manny, I love to hang out. That's how I learned about you. That's how I got in. I was talking to somebody today who says, I really like your stuff. And I said, give me some testimonials. So if you like what you see, great. Go out on Google, go out on YouTube when you see this and give us a little testimonial. Wow, I'm beat. How about you? I got to do another video call in 30 minutes with with one of my team people. We're doing a call. So I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for being on the Hangout. I hope we've given you something that's going to help you take your business to the next level. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you shortly on another Hangout. And remember, we're always here to create a better world, as my great friend Burl walks.